What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it, lay the smack down on the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and a message out. Oh, wait. Instagram neglect. I forgot to hit live on Instagram, but we are live on Instagram now. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can get into whatever. You can call in and we can get into it. If for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV and buy me a donut with a message. Or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button there, send your question or comments in. I will read them live on air. All right? You guys can do that. Amazing stuff. What's today? Tuesday. True Crime Tuesday. But listen, we got a little twist today. Today is Ghetto Bible True Crime Story. Ghetto Bible True Crime Stories today, right? We get into it. We're doing a little bit of mix of the Bible and true crime. All right? That's what we're doing today because there's a story about our main man Moses, right? That I want to get into. Very fascinating stuff. And just a message. Just a message that must be remembered. And I want to get into that. I want to break down that story. All right, we're going to get into the Moses story. Thank you guys for tuning in. Amazing stuff. All the platforms across the board you can tune in. Remember, in case you forgot, we also are audio only as well on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those platforms, audio only platforms. Just search up Joel Friday TV and I will pop up. All right. And you can check out audio only if you prefer. That as well, just in case you're driving or you're busy, you're at work and you can't watch the video, or you don't want to use up all your data, you can do audio only. Just type in Joel Friday on your go-to audio platforms. All right. It's not live, but the shows do get posted, every morning, the day after. All right. Amazing stuff. Cool. Let me just make sure we're going here. Everything's good to go. We're in the clear. Cool. All right. So I was just, looking around and trying to prep for the show for true crime, and wasn't really. I had a couple of true crime stories ready to go, or that I was thinking about. I wouldn't say ready to go, but I was thinking about getting into. Wasn't feeling them. You know what I mean? Wasn't feeling them, and I was like, you know what? Let me look elsewhere. So I was looking, and then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do a little Bible story, and I looked up. Just different ones, and then the Moses one made sense to me. Oh shoot, I still got the number up here. Let me take the number down. So, the true crime ones I just wasn't feeling. They were pretty good though, but I just wasn't feeling them today. You gotta when you have a show and you're prepping a show, you gotta be into the topic you're talking about, or it's just gonna be dead. You know what I mean? So I just wasn't into them, and I wasn't excited about them to want to tell the story, so I just let them go. But I thought that this little story today was pretty interesting about Moses. So let's get into it. Just to bring you guys to the very beginning, I want to start at the very beginning and we're going to go on a little ride. All right. We're going to start in the very beginning of Moses when Moses was just a wee little baby, right? So back in the times, and mind you, this is Ghetto Bible story, so I don't got all the perfect details for you. You know what I mean? This is Ghetto Bible stories. All right. This ain't white Bible stories. This is ghetto. So I'm going to give you my version, right? Same truth told differently. Okay. So if you want specific details, read it for yourself. All right. But this is from Exodus, Old Testament. And before Moses was born, Pharaoh, the Egyptian king, was killing all the firstborn children, right? So Moses' mother had Moses. And they were looking around for the boys to be killed. Pharaoh's mother was like, oh, this boy is special. We can't kill him. So she hid him. And then as they were still looking, she started getting scared, right? She's like, we got to do something with this boy. I don't want him to die. He is special. We got to do something with this boy. So she got a little basket, put him in the basket, send him off on the river, right? And I have a conspiracy theory that Moses' mother was very smart what she did with this next thing here. I think it was intentional, but it doesn't say it was intentional in the Bible, but I think it was. Watch, you'll see. She pushes the baby out, right? Moses out into the thing. It's going down the river, and Pharaoh's daughter sees the little baby in the river. And Pharaoh's daughter's slave, Pharaoh's daughter tells the slave, look at that baby over there. Go get it. The slave goes over there and gets it, and then picks up the baby, and she's like, this baby is a Hebrew, right? The Hebrew Israelite baby. And then Pharaoh's daughter was like, oh, okay, bet. Well, we're gonna need I'm gonna keep the baby, but we're gonna need the mother. We're gonna need somebody of Moses's family tree to nurse him, right? To nurse him. So the Pharaoh's daughter was like, go find a Hebrew to nurse. So the slave goes and finds Moses' mother, right? Not knowing that that's Moses' mother. Pharaoh's daughter just needs somebody to nurse the baby, right? So Pharaoh's mother is nursing the baby, and then Pharaoh's daughter says, I will pay you for doing this great thing for me. So Moses' mother got paid. Tell me that wasn't no genius business transaction right there. Pharaoh's daughter had no idea that this is the actual mother of the baby. Yes, she's paying this woman to nurse Moses. Meanwhile, the whole time it's Moses' mother, according to the scripture. So she got paid. A little payday for the family. They ate good that night. Anyway, after that was done, Pharaoh's daughter raised Moses as he got a little bit older, right? Moses' mother gave him back. And Pharaoh's daughter raised Moses, and then he got to a certain age, and he starts to see his own people under the Egyptian king, under Pharaoh, as slaves, right? And he was watching them, and they were seeing the type of labor they were going through, and he was just disgusted. He was like, this is my people. They are abusing my people. So one time Moses sees one of the Egyptian leaders beating up one of the Israelites, right? And Moses was ticked. He's like, this is my people. This ain't about to happen. So Moses sneaks up and kills the Israelite. Boom, kills him while no one's looking, right? To save to protect his people, right? And he flees, he runs away. And the next day, Moses sees his two of his own Israelites fighting against each other. Moses gets in the middle, trying to save the day again. And it's like, hey, why are you fighting amongst each other? You guys are both enslaved, right? Why do you fight against your brother? And he's like, boy, back up. If you don't back up, anger kicking in. If you don't back up, you think you better? That's why when you overhear the one that killed the Egyptian, you think you better? And Moses got scared. He's like, oh, shoot, they're going to find out and they're going to kill me. So Moses ran off. Y'all are like, what is going on here with this story? Ivana's in here taking notes. I'm telling you. I'm going to get to the point right here in a second here. But so Moses flees, he runs away. Sorry, I'm just making sure we're going here on YouTube. Audio murked. Oh, okay, we're good. So Moses flees, he runs away, and the Pharaoh finds out that Moses killed one of his people. And Pharaoh was not having it. Pharaoh's like, no, we need to find Moses and we need to kill him. So Moses finds out and then he leaves permanently, right? Moses then goes to this place, this town called Miriam. I believe it's Miriam. Hold on, let me make sure I get it right. Miriam. And he runs into these daughters, these 7 daughters of this priest of the city Midian. All right, Midian is the name. He finds these 7 daughters, and then there was a shepherd that was trying to, he was messing with the daughters, right? The daughters were trying to get water for the town and for the priest, and this shepherd came and ran the daughters off. Moses saw that because Moses, Captain Save Everybody. So Moses saw that, was like, He went in there, saved the 7 daughters from the shepherd, and the 7 daughters were like, thank you, Moses. You the man. We appreciate you. The 7 daughters go back to the father, and the priest is like, this guy helped us out. And the priest is like, why don't you bring him back for dinner? Then Moses then marries one of the daughters, right? And has a boy. Men make boys first. He has a little boy, right? So after that, Moses becomes part of the family, and now he's in there doing his thing, and he helps out the priest in the city, and he's doing his thing, and the priest sends him out to the mountain of God, right? I forgot the name of the mountain. But he sends him out, and Moses from a distance sees the bush start burning, right? Bear with me, folks. It's about to get interesting. He sees the bush start burning, and Moses is like, mind you, Moses is just a regular guy. He wasn't raised amongst the Israelites. He doesn't know all these things. He's not this like huge believer on all this type of stuff. He was raised with the Egyptians, right? So he sees the burning bush, and he sees that the bush is burning, but it's not falling apart, right? So he goes over there. He's like, what is this mystery? He looks at the bush, and God comes out of the bush, right? And it startles Moses, but God's like, do not be afraid. You guys know the story. I am the Lord your God, and I am calling you to go rescue the Israelites from slavery. And Moses looking around like, who, me? And God's like, yes, you. He's like, I ain't nobody. Why would you want me to do that? He's like, because I'm asking you to. I'm asking. And Moses is like, how would I go save some Israelites? How are they going to believe me that I'm one to do? I'm nobody. What am I going to say to them? He's like, what is that in your hand right there? God says to Moses. He said, this is my staff. And then God tells Moses, drop it on the ground. He throws it on the ground, and the staff turns to a snake. And then the snake starts slithering, and Moses is like, what the? He's like, see, I'm your God. And then God tells Moses, this is crazy right here. This is crazy. God tells Moses, grab that snake by the tail. Moses like, all right. So he grabs it by the tail, and once he grabs it, it turns back into a staff. He says, see, I am the Lord your God. You must trust that I have the power to do all things, right? In a sense. And then at this point, Moses still says, Lord, listen, they ain't gonna believe me. Choose someone else. And then he's like, you think this is a game? Okay, put your hand in your pocket. Moses like, Lord, what he gonna do now? Moses put his hand in his pocket, pulls out his hand, and his hand is all white, right? Dead. Just a dead hand. And Moses like, what you doing? And God's like, you didn't believe me, put your hand back in your pocket. Puts it back in his pocket, pulls his hand back out, and it's normal again. He's like, I am the Lord your God, trust in me, right? At this point, Moses is just, he don't even know what to think, right? So they continue to go, and Moses is like, guess what? I still ain't doing it. I can't even speak well. I don't even know how to speak good. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say to them. I don't have no confidence. I'm not even, and God's like, why did I show you these signs and yet you still doubt what I'm capable of? Take your brother Aaron with you then. Your brother Aaron speaks very well. Take him with you and both of you guys go. You're going to do it. You ain't got a choice. And Moses is like, all right. All right. So then they go. So they go about, they go together, Moses and his brother Aaron. I never heard about Aaron. I wasn't too familiar with Aaron, but Aaron was his younger brother. And I didn't know too much about him or where he came from. But anyway, they both go together and they go up because God had told Moses and Aaron that to go to the elders of Israel, right? Tell them your plans and what you plan to do with the slaves. And then they went and did that, and they told the elders, and the elders like, right on, we with you, let's go do it. And they're all walking up to Pharaoh together. They got the chest out, right? Because they're feeling good. We're on the same page. God said he got the power. We got the power with us. The Lord our God told us to go. And they're walking with their chest out, ready to go, and they go to Pharaoh. Pharaoh! Guess what? You gonna set our people free. Let our people go. And well, Pharaoh said, who are you? As a matter of fact, now that you said that, I'm gonna make it worse for your people. Then their jobs, the slaves their jobs got worse. They got hard. They started getting beat. And Moses was looking around at his brother Aaron, and the elders were looking back at them like, you done told us to trust you. And Moses and Aaron, they go they go away, right? They flee. And they're looking at each other like, God done told us that we're gonna free our slaves, and yet he made it worse for them. So now Moses is ticked. He's like, listen, God, I did exactly what you told me, and why are you telling us to do that? And they just made it worse for our people. He said, boy, don't worry. Why are you worrying? I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart, and he gonna do what I ask. His heart is going to be hardened. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to Pharaoh. At this point, Moses was like, this a joke. God, you going to go back to Pharaoh, and you going to tell him he better release the people, or there's going to be some hell to pay. And Moses like, all right, he started dragging his feet. He's like, damn, I got to go back. He going back. He goes back to the elders, and the elders are like, he's like, we got to do this one more time, y'all. Elders like, Moses, I am not going back with you. You told us that they were going to do that. He didn't do this. I don't believe you. I ain't going back with you. So Moses goes back to Pharaoh and says, Pharaoh, listen, God said, if you don't do this, we're going to turn your rivers and your seas into blood. Right? This is where it gets interesting. We're going to turn your rivers and your seas into blood. And then Pharaoh's like, okay, you think that you're special? I have magicians here that do the same exact thing. It says this in the Bible. So Pharaoh, Aaron sticks out his staff, puts it in the sea, right? And not that sea that parts ways. Not yet. We ain't there yet. This happened before that, right? And then the whole sea turns blood, and all within the town is all bloody, right? Blood everywhere, right? Turn it in. And Pharaoh still doesn't believe it's God, because God said he was going to harden his heart, right? So Pharaoh's still like, that's not proof of God. I have magicians here that could do the exact same thing. The magicians come out and they do the same thing. I'm like, you could do that with magic? I thought magic was fake. And they come out and they do the same exact thing. They copy exactly what God said he would do. He's like, see, Pharaoh's like, see, you think that you're powerful, that your God did this? I have people who do this. We do this. We make blood to rivers into blood too. And then Moses is like, look, I'm just following orders here. I'm just trying to, stick my chest out to look confident, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I really am just following these orders. And Pharaoh's coming back with this stuff. I don't know what to do. Pharaoh and Aaron flees again. Little C, Satan replicated God. Exactly. Satan will replicate everything that is of God. So yeah, those magicians were doing it. It wasn't the power of God though, right? So Moses goes back and he's like, Lord, he ain't listening. I told you he ain't listening. I did everything he told me to do and it still ain't working. God said, Moses, go back and do it again. This time when you go, tell him that I'm going to make frogs appear everywhere in his town, in his bedroom. Moses like, Lord have mercy. I'm just trying to live my life with my wife and my sons. I ain't trying to do all this, man. Moses goes back in obedience, does it again. And Pharaoh says, okay, bet, do it. And Moses does it. Aaron sticks his rod out. Boom. Frogs everywhere. Jumping, leaping. Everybody's big. Frog come crawling out people's mouth. Right? Pharaoh's like, okay, and look at my magician. Magician, show him. Show him what's up. They do the same thing. Bow. Frogs too. Now there's double the frogs. Pharaoh's like, what you got now? And Moses at this point cooked, right? He just doesn't get it. He just lost. And he goes back. Jesus sends him back. Jesus keeps sending him back, right? We're not going to go through every single instance, but Jesus sent them back, and they did hell, and they did all kinds of things. Then Jesus sends him back again and says, this time I'm going to do gnats, right? We're going to fill the city up with gnats. And Moses is like, all right, fill them up then. He did a little thing, gnats came out of nowhere. But this time, see, God was in control the whole time. God knew all this was going to happen. This was all part of God's plan. He knew about the little magicians. It was all part of God's plan. This time, the gnats that came about everywhere from the power of God, Pharaoh was like, mine too, right? And then the magicians tried to do it, and they failed, right? They couldn't recreate the gnats. They couldn't do it. And Pharaoh was like, and then the magicians of Pharaoh were like, listen, we tried and we cannot do it. Our only explanation of this is that Moses and Aaron are underneath the authority of God. They said it. And Pharaoh's like, of who? To try again. Nothing happening. They couldn't do it. They couldn't recreate it. So the magicians were like, no, this is God. This ain't, we trying, we can't do it. And God kept, but Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and God wasn't playing with Pharaoh. So he kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. Hail, rain, blood, and then the firstborn, he got to the point where he was killing all the firstborn boys in Egypt. And then finally, he caved. Finally, Pharaoh caved. It's like, you know what? Fine, go. I can't handle this no more. You want your slaves? Take them. This is too much of a burden. You're killing everybody. Too much going on. I can't compete. Go ahead. Take the people. He takes the people. Moses takes the people. Moses is shocked too. Moses like, oh, this worked. Takes the people. They go, and they're going for the Red Sea, right? Mind you, the Egyptians, they don't even believe, right? The Egyptians don't even really believe before they were set free, right? They weren't even really believing Moses. They were doubting Moses, but they finally get free, and they go, and they head towards the Red Sea, and they're hating Moses. Why did you send us to the Red Sea? We can't go nowhere. Is this a trap? You're setting us up. Meanwhile, they turn around. Pharaoh and his people are on the horses charging, right? About to kill him. And as you guys know, the whole story goes, sticks out the rod, drops in the dirt, the sea parts. Right? Everybody looking around like, there ain't no way. Anyway, at this point, we believe after all that stuff, we saw frogs coming out of my mouth, gnats coming out of my ears, hell, the size of basketballs coming out the sky. Oh, we believe now. So they start sprinting through the sea, going full speed, to freedom. And Pharaoh and his people are following right behind. As the Israelites get through, God releases the water. It smashes down in on the Egyptians, kills them all, no survivors. Israelites get to the other side, right? And then that's when the journey begins. But I'm going to stop there. I thought that was so interesting because I say all that to say is that at the end of the day, we sometimes wonder why our lives won't change, right? And we wonder why things don't get better. But what was so amazing to me about this story is that, like, so many things were happening that were abnormal, right? But God knew that Moses can handle what was being done. He knew that he had the faith to trust the process. He knew that even though it was hard and he doubted himself, he still had a strong enough faith to believe that God was in control, right? And he stuck it through. And because he stuck it through, even through all that stuff, God was faithful to the promise. But it took his belief. It took Moses' faith to be strong in order for him to continue on the path. And a lot of the times, our faith is not big enough in the sense of believing that we can overcome, believing that these little thoughts that be coming in the mind are lies, believing that this is just temporary, believing that we can have those things that are meant for us, right? The money or the success or whatever the case is, we shouldn't necessarily chase after it, but why not believe if God owns it all, that we can be as successful as the rest of the people who may not be doing it properly, right? May or may not be doing it properly. But if God owns everything, why can't we have it too? And I talk to a lot of people, and I tell people about, like, you know, Christian stuff, like the miracles A lot of people don't believe the miracles really existed. They think that they were metaphors. Or a lot of people don't believe that, and I'm gonna get to your calls right now in a second. Be patient. I will get to your calls right now. We got time. I will get to them. Let me just finish this point. They don't believe that they can meet a decent person, the right person. They don't believe all these things. They're very small-minded, and I understand that because there's no examples of the truth. There's no examples of the light for the most part, right? We have a few of them. Thank God for Bond and some of the other people out in the world who are doing, decent things. But we don't always see the examples, so we don't know it exists. Or we don't see miracles on a day-to-day. How do we know it exists? But the issue is not the fact that you don't see miracles. The issue is the fact that you don't believe that they exist. And that's why they don't exist. And that's why our lives aren't where we would like them to be. And that's why we're not overcoming. And that's why we're still in hell, is because our belief is too small, right? We don't believe God can do all these things that he's been saying he can do. He's given us examples. He gives us example in our daily lives, right? But we don't believe that it's possible because the thoughts get real loud and blah, 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 blah. But I tell people all the time, like, listen, it may or may not happen for you. Who knows, right? But why be closed off at the possibilities, right? Why be closed off to the idea that maybe it's possible this could happen, right? Why not believe that maybe? Well, aliens don't exist. Well, heaven and hell doesn't exist. Well, this and this doesn't exist. Okay, well, maybe not, right? But why not? Or you can't have paradise on earth, right? Or all these different things, but okay, well, maybe not, right? Maybe not, right? Who knows? Who really knows? But isn't it better? Isn't it more in your benefit to think that there's a possibility maybe you can? Maybe it is real? That way, if it is, you can have it. Why not be open to the possibilities? And that's why I like this story so much about Moses, because he had to be open to the possibilities. He had to be open, right? He had to believe. And because he believed, the promise was completed. But there's a second part of the Moses story. We ain't gonna get into it today, right? So that was just that. Is that we're stuck in hell, and our lives don't change because we don't believe it can, right? We don't believe that it's possible, right? We don't believe that God will add all things, right? We don't believe that he's looking out for our best interests. He knows what's best, right? That he's going to add whoever or whatever to you, and it's going to be perfect and right. And you're going to enjoy it a lot better than those who are in the world who don't receive it in the proper way. I can relate to that too. Small faith, I understand that. But I do know that possibilities are endless. And I've seen it happen in my life. Maybe most of us have seen crazy things happen in our life that we can't explain. But that's where it's at, y'all, in the belief. Anyway, let me get to some calls here. All right. And then I'll get to some super chats in a second here. Let me go to Jermaine out of Canada. Jermaine, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's up, Joel?
How's it going, Jermaine?
All is well, man. Unfortunately, the thing I want to talk about is nothing what you're
Uh,
talking about right
all
now.
good, man. All good. Uh,
But have you heard? I'm not sure if you heard the new trending song that's going around. Which talks about anxiety, which is insanely crazy to me, actually.
no, what's it about? How does it go?
It's about talking about anxiety and how the person that sings the song, actually Will Smith promotes it, so it's just so interesting, right?
Okay.
It talks about the anxiety that she's having, and because most people struggles with the same thing, they have identified with the spirit, right? So it's just trendy now because everyone it's on TikTok all over the place. And even so-called people that call themselves Christians are reacting to it in a positive way too, which it's not. I'm not judging them. It's just funny
Yeah.
to see it, right?
Yeah.
And she talks about the S word when she's sleeping. She have these dreams. So it just reminds me of how Jesse would always tell us to do this silent prayer because it's when you go to bed you go unconscious, and that's how the evil spirits infiltrate your dreams and give
Yeah.
you all these stuff. And it was just interesting to see, man. And it's viral all over the place. A lot of TikTok people are responding to it, and
Yeah.
it just reminds me that not everyone will overcome the evil and the thrills that we
Yeah.
get from these type of things.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to maybe you will check it out later on.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I was just like on TikTok scrolling,
Yeah.
and the song came on, and it just gave me a bad juju feeling. My body just
Do
shivered.
you
I'm
remember
like,
any
oh,
of the lyrics that you can say?
uh,
Here, let me see if I can go ahead. If you can remember any lyrics.
I can't remember it because I don't want to remember it.
Uh,
Honestly,
it's cringy. It's cringy.
it's not that it's cringy. It's just it gives you like when you need to stay away from impure or impure spirits, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It gives me the shiver. So I'm like, oh, I'm like, no, I don't want to remember it.
Is it
Every
by
time the song,
Dochi? Is it by Dochi?
yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
yeah,
read. I'm gonna read some of the lyrics here.
yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. Anxiety, keep on trying me. I feel it quietly, trying to silence me. My anxiety can't shake it off of me. Somebody's watching me. My anxiety. And it says, solo, no mojo. I bounce back, no pogo. Unhappy, no homo. New brands, no logos. Money on my jugular. Natural hustler. I think I need a smuggler in Russia. So you can be my butler. Shine my cutler. Shout out to Oyenda. That's the guzzler. What the? Okay, next thing, my life is a blank dream. I call it a S scene. The back is a nice tease. I try to escape my life is a X rated. I'm sorry, a S tape. You only get one take. Okay, interesting. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, Jermaine, because people, all of us really are really just lost trying to find the way. And some people are more angry or more lost than maybe others. And right now we live in this time to where emotions are like our God, right? Everything is emotional. Everyone's into the emotions. Everybody thinks emotions are of God. So they get into this like this worship of things that make them feel good, and then they get caught up in these weird things, and then everybody will post it on Instagram and say all these things and boast about it as if they found something that is right and true, but it's just emotional things. So I'm not surprised, and it's just a result of lost, broken people trying to find their way, and they're in the wilderness and can't see. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. It reminds me in Romans when when was it Paul? I think was writing to Romans. He was saying like people are gonna find new ways to bring evil into the world,
Yeah,
and it just clicked. I'm like, this is just it's insane. But I
yeah,
understand, right? Because
yeah,
we're working on ourselves. We see it, and that's why. to when they say you have, I'm not sure if I've truly overcome the world, but I've overcome some extent that I
Yeah.
can see it happening, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And you know what's such an interesting thing too as well, Jermaine, is that we're given the eyes to see it, but we have to watch how we look at it too and be aware
Hmm.
because it's so easy to fall into judgment. You know what I mean? Because we see
Exactly.
this stuff that is so wild, right, and crazy, and it's so easy. And I'll speak for myself to slip into like judging it as wrong, right? When
Hmm.
people are just lost, blind and can't see. God forgive them for they know not what they do, type of thing. And
Exactly.
when we judge, we're no different. So, yes, we can
Hmm.
see, but we have to learn how not to be of judgment. It's just it's a crazy thing.
Yeah, yeah. Just like when Jesus was on the cross and he asked God to forgive them, just like you said, they
Yeah.
know not what they have done. They're so blind and in the dark. Their useless thoughts are controlling them.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
man.
it was a pleasure, Joel. Keep doing it, man. Keep
Appreciate it,
doing it.
Jermaine. Thanks for
All
calling.
right.
Thanks, man. Call me again.
All right. Bye. Cheers.
All right. That's so interesting. That judgment is a sneaky thing. Very sneaky, right? Because it's dressed up as discernment. Oh, the devil gonna tell you just discerning. You just discern. You just pointing out the obvious. You just righteously judging. Doesn't exist. How do I know? I'll be doing it. And it's crazy because you don't. It doesn't feel like you're doing it. It don't feel like you're judging. It don't feel like you're looking down. But it's not wrong what you're seeing. You're seeing what is improper, right? You're seeing that this is not normal, but our opinion about it is where we're judging because we're not seeing the full picture, which is why we judge. We're not fully understanding the situation of why the person is the way that they are, right? So then we judge and we rebuke and we're tricked because we think we see that this is crazy. It's obviously crazy. It's apparently it's just crazy. But we're just as crazy if we're judging. That's our truth. And when we fully understand the full picture, we'll no longer look at it as wrong. Right? If we fully understand the full picture of that situation we're judging, we wouldn't judge it because we would understand why it's the way it is. It's a dirty game, y'all. It's a dirty, 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 dirty game. That's why you always just got to look at yourself. Check yourself. You know what I mean? Let me go to Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's going on, Brother Joel?
All is well, Rick. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
All is well.
Man, so I want to make sure I got your topic right.
Yeah.
Ghetto Bible,
Yeah.
and true crime stories.
Yes.
What do you mean by that topic?
What do you mean? What's the question?
The question is, your topic of today's show is Ghetto Bible, true crime stories.
Yes. So I broke down. Were you able to hear it?
No, I didn't. I just got onto your show.
Oh, well, I basically got into the story of Moses. And how Moses, I just broke down his story from birth to as he got into rescuing the Israelites from slavery. And the point
okay. Yeah, I did hear that part. Yes, I did. I heard that part. Yep.
Yeah, and the point of it was that in order for us to be free of all this stuff, the issues in our mind, the whether it's physical slavery, mental slavery, whatever it is that we have to not be closed off at the possibilities of what God can do. And Moses witnessed a lot of wild, crazy, miracles God was doing in front of his face. The frogs out of nowhere, the sea
Yep.
parting, but he had to have a big faith in order to allow those things to happen. So the point was, if our faith is as big as Moses' faith was, then we can overcome all things.
You know, now you explain. I can probably put in a good input. I like that topic. I just think, you know what, there, Joel, most of the time, 95% of our problems are brought upon by us making terrible, emotional, traumatized choices.
Yeah.
That's where most of our problems come from. Once we get perfect peace and and live with the kingdom within us, you tend to make wise choices. You really do.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's like you can't have heaven on earth. God wants you to prosper on earth before you come home to heaven. You don't have to wait to heaven to experience the blessings God got for you. You can experience them now, but the
Yeah.
problem is we so out of touch with God, we can't experience it, in my opinion.
Rick, what I realized too is that like sometimes we get too realistic, right? We get too caught up in reality and we lose sight of like possibility, right? And possibility
Mm-hmm.
seems so like churchy or Christiany or fluffy to think that all these things can happen and they're real. But that's what society too has lost way with the fact that all these things are possible. Everybody just looks at like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. Let's live our lives knowing what we know, but then at the same time still living in hell, still suffering.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just that people, I think, get too caught up in reality instead of believing that God can do all things. So we don't overcome, and we don't see people who do miracles like Jesus once did back in the day, or whatever the case is, because nobody's believing that it's possible, or we're all comfortable in our hell.
Yeah, I mean, now that's true too. Some people want to stay in their hell, and as Pastor Adrian Rogers says, they have a right to be wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta let them stay in until they get sick and tired of being sick and tired, or either till they come to their wits end.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like setbacks there, Joel. I like to prosper everywhere. I even like to help other people prosper. It was I think it was two white ladies talking about the prosperity ministry, how most of the congregation is black. I think you probably seen that
I
floating
don't think
around.
I've seen that.
It was two white ladies talking about it. And this have to bring up most time when it comes to the prosperity ministry, most of the congregation tend to be black. And which I believe too, because most time blacks trying to look for a quick way out. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And so they tend to go to the prosperity ministry. Money cometh to me now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Tap on your car and believe in God for a new one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And manifest there's a thing called manifestation now too, and there to where people are like manifesting their future dreams and goals, and like money, and manifesting like a car and stuff like that. And
wow, that's another ministry, manifestation.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are into manifesting their future life, and but I think that in there somewhere is just just another word for faith, believing that something can happen, but not to God's will. And I think that this whole manifestation thing is just another thing that is just abusing the power of faith, if that's making sense. And it's
Yeah,
exploiting um doing what is right and just trusting that whatever is meant for you will come to you and going with God's will. No, if you do believe that you're gonna be rich or you do believe that you're gonna have a big house and car, yeah, it will happen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was done in the proper way. So yeah,
exactly.
there's
Yep.
weird things. There's so many weird things that are out there right now.
So many ways, man, from people getting into the drug trade. I know one thing, man. The biggest financial book in the world is the scriptures.
Yeah,
Biggest financial book, because all a lot of people do is take what was said in the scriptures and just put it in the book where people can understand it even better.
yeah,
Well, not even better, but they took the principles out the scriptures, like don't
yeah,
co-sign for people. You are servant to the lender. That comes
yeah,
from scriptures, you know.
yeah.
And
That's a good point.
don't even installment says don't put all your money into one investment. I mean, divide it
Yeah,
up in different investments, and that's all what they pretty much really did, you know. And I mean, God wants all of us to prosper. He wants us all to prosper. He wants us all to have perfect peace on earth and have heaven on earth.
yeah,
I mean, God wants
yeah,
all in pain, suffering spiritually, mentally, physically, health wise.
yeah.
None of that is none. I mean, God wants you to prosper. I mean, God said, "I
Right.
want you to prosper as your soul prosper and be in good health."
And we gotta do right, 100%. And we gotta do it his way. And that's the thing what he's
Exactly.
asking.
That's the problem. What we have the
Yeah,
problem getting with plugging into God's way.
yeah,
We're doing it every kind of way but His way.
yeah,
That we wonder why we ain't reaping the results.
yeah, exactly. Because the
And then
devil
we
got
get
a way
angry.
too. The devil has a way
Oh,
too.
oh man!
Yeah,
If God gave me, not that I want to be Satan, brother Joel, but if God gave me 24 hours to be Satan, I'd be good at my job because I will use people's anger to be their
right.
own dismice.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
make them because anger makes you anxious too.
yeah,
Make you go out, go jump on bad deals and stuff, and
yeah,
hit somebody. I would destroy somebody just with their anger,
yeah.
and I sit back and have a good, sit back and have a cup
Good
of
time. Yeah,
lemonade and watch them.
exactly. Exactly. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I appreciate it, Rick. I'm out of time. Thank
No
you.
problem, Joel. Do your thing, man. Thanks for taking my call. Love you guys, man. I will tune in for the next show. So love
Right
y'all guys.
on.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, Rick. Thank you. Last comment here, and then I'm done. I'm out. American Anchor Baby's coming in. Is that this whole manifestation thing too? Is that Rick was making an interesting point? Is that all this stuff that we have now today are rooted in scripture, right? Which is just common sense truth, right? Natural things done the proper way will bring results. But what has happened is that people are exploiting that, right? They exploit it. Says, ask and you shall receive, right? Seek and you shall find. So the world today has exploited that, and we just seek it and we ask for it and we get it, but it's not God who's giving it to us all the time. You know what I mean? It's not God who's giving it, because Satan also is the lowercase g God. And he gives stuff too. You know what I mean? So it's just scripture that has been exploited today and copied. And instead of faith, trusting that God's will be done, it's now manifest. Manifest your dream reality. And that ain't God. Satan could do it too. He can bring you things you ask for. So, yeah, you gotta. Things seem as if they're God, but they're not always God. And most of the time, it's actually not God, especially nowadays. So be careful out there, all these things. I ain't saying don't try it, but just be aware of yourself as you're doing it, so you learn what's the truth and what's not. All right, I gotta go. American Anchor Baby's coming in right now. Go to rumble.com/American Anchor Baby to watch his show coming on right now in 5 minutes live on Rumble. Go make sure you guys check his show out. I'll be back here for tomorrow for some more stuff. Until next time, y'all, I gotta go. Bye.